eBay don't seem to be able to own up to this problem. Customer service, the people that are there to support sellers, are doing a very, very bad job at it, because this is driving me absolutely insane. None of that, they are not interested. But why can't you get off your backside and find out? Okay, well the saga continues with the defect rate. I'm kind of at my wit's end. I want to explain a little bit further why it's really important that this gets resolved, and the reason I'm making this video is because it's very important that as many sellers understand what the issue is, how it's going to affect them, but also really sort of understand how eBay are trying to push sellers into certain ways of working, ways that make it better for the customer and for the seller, yet they don't seem to have a grip whatsoever on the workings, you know, what actually goes into that, and how their cunning plans just don't work. So first of all, I should explain, for many of our listings we do same day dispatch with a cut-off of 12 PM, and we do fast free shipping, and that is to earn the premium badge, the top rated seller badge, on as many listings as possible. Now, we don't do them on all of our listings because, you know, for some things we want to keep postage on for various reasons. But the frustrating part really is that eBay are always attempting to push sellers into having the top rated seller badge displayed, the eBay premium service badge displayed, but they are doing nothing on the other side to support sellers who are striving to offer the best service possible to customers. And I'm going to explain exactly what I mean fully, so I'm hoping by the end of this video I've made it really clear, just in case, you know, you might not be a full-time reseller, or you might not even be a reseller or a seller on eBay at all, but you like reselling videos, and this is the sort of stuff that we have to put up with. That, to be honest, videos like this, you know, they're not easy videos to make. There's a fair bit of editing, but it's so important that this stuff gets pushed out. And really my ideal goal would be that someone from eBay with some weight, someone that can actually look at issues and actually make a change, because customer service, the people that are there to support sellers, are doing a very, very, very bad job at it. So where do we start? So first of all, this message comes in, I don't know how often it comes in, see it quite regularly. Become top rated plus seller. Update 585 in our case of your listings to allow for 1 day dispatch time, and for most categories free 30-day return to qualify for the eBay top rated seller program. Top rated sellers get exclusive benefits that help boost visibility, save money and more. Let's just get this straight. eBay aren't doing this for sellers, they're doing it for buyers. They're doing it to offer the best experience they can for buyers. Fast delivery, easy returns, etc. But of course they have to try and incentivize sellers to do that. So according to eBay, the benefits of having the premium service badge, it may attract more buyers and boost conversions, will also reward sellers who uphold the highest delivery standards in our marketplace. I mean, that is a complete farce, and you'll find out why in a second. Benefits of using eBay premium service include maximum visibility and best match search results, 10% discount on final value fees on ebay.co.uk. That in itself is an absolute joke. If you sell something for £20 and eBay take 10.9% plus VAT, that's like £2.50 or something. So eBay are giving you back 25 pence of that £2.50 for going through all the hoops of offering this service. I mean, what a joke. Adding premium service to your listings is only available for top rated sellers. So you have to be top rated in the first place to have good account metrics, and this is one of the problems that I've got, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. So you have to offer free domestic delivery option within 3 working days, offer an express delivery option within 2 working days for no more than £10. For items over £20, the delivery services that you offer have to have designated tracked services. Valid tracking must be uploaded within the dispatch time. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'd really like to highlight in all of this wording. And then it lists the services that you can use with Royal Mail. Royal Mail second class parcel. Does that have premium service eligibility? Yes. That would be if you dispatch it very, very quick. You're going to have to dispatch that in the first day to obviously be delivered within 3 days. We're just focusing on parcels. So first class parcel, 1 to 2 working days. Premium service eligibility, yes. Parcels sent with these services will qualify for eBay premium service. If you're doing letters, you would have to add tracking. And then it says here Royal Mail 48 and Royal Mail 24. So unless you're using DMO, so there is no change required for listings that are using Royal Mail 48. So if you're using 48 or 24, that qualifies for the premium delivery service. And this page goes on to highlight what is defined as a tracked service. So we can see here, Collect Plus, Hermes, etc. Look, Royal Mail second class parcel is a tracked service apparently. Royal Mail second class signed for. Royal Mail 48, Royal Mail first class, Royal Mail track 24. So, you know, obviously there's lots more as well there. I'm focusing on the issue that we have with using Royal Mail right now. And I'd love to know what you think as we go along. If you want to offer top rated seller services, so if you want to try to go the extra mile, so ship really quickly, use a fast delivery service to benefit the customers, because that is what eBay are trying to do. Yes, there's benefits for the seller, like a 10% discount on fees and an apparent improved best match visibility. But let's not forget, you know, this is about servicing customers. And here it quite clearly defines what is the service, and that is a tracked service. It says right there. So these are tracked. Second class parcel, second class signed for, RM28. RM48, RM24. It's all there in black and white. So of course we want to offer the premium badge. We want to try to get our parcels out as quickly as possible for customers who need things fast. That is the world that we live in, and that is what eBay want to push on their sellers. They want us to offer free delivery, they want us to offer fast delivery. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? But the problem with doing that is you are leaving yourself so wide open to late transaction defects. Now, you shouldn't be, because as it says here, seller standards and seller levels, all buyers should have a great experience on eBay. So we evaluate sellers regularly to make sure they're providing the level of customer service that we expect. All sellers are assigned an individual seller performance of either below standard, above standard, or top rated, based on your monthly evaluation. And it says our performance metrics and requirements are intended to encourage good selling practices so that buyers can shop with confidence on eBay. Now, further on in the seller standards policy, it talks about how you're measured, what's the policy. Top rated means you're exceeding performance expectations as well as having established sales history and complying with other eBay policies. If you're top rated, this will be shown in your feedback profile, otherwise eBay members can't see your seller level. It goes on to detail how you're measured. And this is the important one to me. It talks about your late delivery rate. Now, we made a video a couple of weeks ago and we were kind of up in arms because our late delivery rate was just rocketing, and it got to the evaluation day, which was the 20th of September, just a few days back, and we were really close to 3%, which is the maximum you can be to keep your top rated seller. I showed in that video our current orders with defects and talked about how disappointed I was that even though we were dispatching on time, the orders that were arriving late, out of our control according to eBay, which we'll look at in a minute, we weren't able to get those defects removed because the Royal Mail system was not reporting the items being dispatched on the day that they were actually dispatched. And I'm going to go into a lot more detail about that in a second. So again, talking about the buyer experience, we help set buyers' expectations by showing them an estimated delivery date for their order. To help ensure items arrive on time, sellers are responsible for posting their items within their stated dispatch time, using the delivery service selected by the buyer. How we count a late delivery depends whether you've uploaded tracking information that can be verified on the carrier's website, and this is where it gets completely farcical. So with tracking, we'll count an item late when the delivery scan is after the latest estimated delivery date. Yeah, makes sense, it would be late. and there is no carrier scan within your dispatch time. So what that's saying is, if it arrives late and you shipped it late, then you're getting a defect. And yeah, if you ship it late, of course, that's fair enough. So just to summarize, you get a maximum of 3% late delivery rate, and with tracking, we'll count an item as late when the delivery scan is after the latest estimated date and it was dispatched late. Now just remember, that says with tracking, and we looked a moment ago at their definition of a tracked item, and that included both RM24, RM48, first class and second class parcels. They then talk about fair evaluation, seller protections and appeals. I've always been of the opinion that the seller is always 100% responsible for the item. You know, even you give it to the courier, it doesn't arrive. I've seen lots of people say, you know, it's out of my control. And yes, it is out of your control. However, it is still your responsibility as a seller to make sure the item gets there. And if it doesn't get there, you have to deal with it. It's not good enough just to say, you know, speak to Royal Mail, speak to Every about your missing delivery. You know, it's your responsibility as a seller. However, eBay offers protections. The reason they offer protections is obviously to try to be fair to sellers, to try to encourage sellers to ship that little bit faster, improve that service, and say, look, you know, we do understand that things go wrong, and if they go wrong and we deem it to be out of your control, we will help you, we will back you up, and we will remove defects. And it says right here, our seller standards are in place to protect the interests of all users, and our evaluations are intended to look at your performance as a whole. We don't want your seller level to be skewed by just one unfortunate transaction or difficult buyer, and we would want you to be able to focus on providing great service to trustworthy, reliable customers. Fair evaluation, seller protections. And by the way, spoiler, these do not exist anymore, even though obviously it's still their policy. And, you know, but it says quite clearly here, we won't count a late delivery if an item arrives after the estimated date, but tracking shows it was sent on time. And that backs up what we read earlier, where it says you'll only get a defect if it's late and it was dispatched late. So this clearly says you won't get a late delivery defect if an item arrives after the estimated date, but tracking shows it was sent on time. And then it talks about, while these protections are available to all sellers, some of our other protections are dependent on meeting specific eligibility and or seller performance criteria. Learn more about that here. And that just talks about, what if something happens outside my control? They'll remove negative feedback, or they'll make adjustments if there's weather or carrier delays, or if there's an eBay site issue or program error. And I tell you now, whatever you want to call it, this to me is an eBay site issue or a program error, this whole thing. And I know I've sort of still got to get to the point of what is up, but there is a reason that I'm running through all of this first. And then it talks about other ways sellers are protected. So one of the ways you protected, as long as you listed the item on ebay.co.uk, you're protected. So I think I've run through that and made that quite clear as to what eBay's policies are, how they want eBay sellers to operate. They want eBay sellers to offer fast delivery. They want eBay sellers to dispatch quickly. They look at that as a good experience for buyers, and a good experience for buyers equals more success for eBay, and of course more success for sellers. Now, in our previous video we highlighted some of our transaction defects, and these were all stating basically late delivery, and they were going up every day. Now, as I've already said, we ship same day if it's ordered before 12, or often same day even if it's ordered later, because we tend to sort of do the post, start making the labels at around 4 p.m. And as I shared in that video, up until the end of July, eBay were following their policy. Transaction defects were getting removed, late delivery defects were getting removed because things were being dispatched on time. But something changed, and eBay don't seem to be able to own up to this problem. I've spoken to lots and lots of people, and they just don't seem to be getting it, and that is why I'm making this video. These defects were removed rightly. Yes, they arrived late for one reason or another. So this is 15 transactions out of I don't know, 400 or whatever. But they were removed because the items were dispatched on time. But then they started building up again, and I looked at these orders and they were all dispatched on time, yet eBay would not remove them. And it got to our evaluation period on the 20th of September and we were on like 2.9% or something, so close to 3%, but then it ticked over, reset to 0, then the next day we had a bunch more. So now again, within 5 days of the reset, we are up to 2.6%. So we are already really close, and we've got another 25 days left. So I can't see how this isn't going to go over 3%. So before the evaluation, I jumped onto eBay for Business Facebook page where you send them a message, click the verification link, and you start chatting and ironing out problems. That's at least what used to happen. They do not iron out problems anymore. So I sent them this message. My late delivery rate is skyrocketing and I don't understand why. Nothing has changed at this end. Previously with defects, any items that were shipped on time but arrived a day after the estimate would auto remove on the defects. We now seem to have them building up from early August and they're not dropping off. Can you let me know what's changed? And this was before, as I said, this was before the re-evaluation. So the reason that they gave me was these orders have been counted as a defect because they do not have an acceptance scan within the handling time. The only scan is a delivery scan, which unfortunately is 1 to 2 days after the estimated. When we can't see from the tracking number that it was dispatched on time, we would not be able to remove a defect. They then went on to give an example. So looking at this order, the estimated date was the 4th, but was delivered on the 5th. And because there's no accepted scan before that, it's counted as a defect. Hope that makes sense, blah, 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 just as well you're under the 3%, etc., etc. And then they really handily sent me a screenshot of the policy. Tracking was uploaded and shows that the item was delivered to the buyer's address within the stated estimated delivery. And tracking uploaded and shows the acceptance scan is within your handling time. I basically went on to say something's changed. I could not get it through to them. I told them that I had receipts for everything. They went on to say the acceptance scan would appear on the courier's page as item received, scanned in or accepted at. They also then said, as far as I know, Royal Mail Second Class doesn't offer that fully tracked service and only provides the final delivery scan. So I started to believe that this was a problem with second class and probably first class as well, so not RM48 and RM24. But I did go on to explain that she was missing the point, that even if the word accepted wasn't used, it still showed that it was dropped at the parcel shop. So I literally showed her a screenshot of an order with a receipt pointing at that postcode, the right postcode, the right order that had the postcode on the receipt and the date, and that wasn't tallying up. Now, after all that conversation, I re-explained to them that up until the 1st of August, this wasn't a problem. So what's changed? And I showed them the defects, and how they'd been removed previously and how they were building up again, and saying what's changed. The services that we've been using are the same. And they just continued to swerve the question. They said nothing had changed. They said, take it up with Royal Mail. I pointed out again that previous defects had been removed. I had so many conversations, honestly, of just scrolling through it all. It was just absolute bedlam. But the point is, what they're saying is, if it doesn't appear on the online on the tracking information, it doesn't matter. And the fact that I was showing them receipts, even though I was showing them those receipts, they were saying that that's not good enough for an appeal. I just didn't understand how that could possibly be. Obviously, they probably don't want the workload of receiving receipts on attachments from me, but they wouldn't even acknowledge the fact that I had receipts saying it was shipped on the 2nd, yet the eBay system said it was the 3rd or the 4th. They wouldn't even acknowledge that there was an issue, and they just kept telling me to speak to Royal Mail, which is exactly what I did today, and I'm going to talk about that in a little while. I've just basically been going on at them, nagging away, and this has been going on for days now, and I kept pressing the point as to how previous ones had been removed if there was no acceptance scans, and they started talking to me about the reasons why they could have been removed by the system. So they might have been removed because there was a natural disaster, or it was Christmas or a bank holiday. And although there has been a bank holiday at the end of August, none of the orders in question related to those. It hasn't been Christmas. There's been no natural disasters in that period. There's been a bit of one recently around here. And again, they provided me a very handy screenshot of about natural disasters and severe weather. Which at that point, this was a few days ago, this was before the floods. I then asked her about a specific item number, and this was an order that was shown as a defect. And she came back and said that the handle by date was the 2nd of September and the first scan was on the 4th. And I said, perhaps I'm not understanding, but this shows it was accepted at the post office on the 3rd. And again, even though that says that it was shipped on the 3rd, I had the receipt, which shows, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, probably not, but it shows the 2nd. I've actually got it here. So that one right there. 2nd is that order there. So I guess by now, if you've made it this far into this part of the video, you're getting the point that there is something, you know, massively up with this. So I showed her that receipt. There you go. You can see it on the 2nd, that one there. And she just basically said if Royal Mail accepted it on the date as per the receipt, this should be shown on the tracking, but it's not. Therefore, it's going to process as a defect. Nothing has changed. But it would be a query with Royal Mail that if it's been dropped on the 2nd, why isn't it reflected on the tracking, causing a late defect. I do apologise. I am afraid it is the final resolution we can offer, and I appreciate your item and patience. I said, you know, this isn't the end. You haven't offered any resolution. I've just shown you the receipt. Why are you not going, oh my god, that's really weird? Okay, yeah, I can see that you've shown me the receipt. I'll get that one removed. Can you send me the other item numbers that the same things happened? And I'll have a word of our systems people. Get them to check with Royal Mail why it's not reporting correctly. There must be a glitch in the code. None of that. None of that. They are not interested. And again, this is why I'm making a video, because if you know anyone at eBay, and I know a lot of people have been to eBay Open recently, and I'm really annoyed with myself that I didn't speak to Royal Mail there, or someone from eBay. But if you know someone at eBay that is worth the money that they're paid by eBay, so not Gail, not Jessica, not Amy, because they are not worth the money that they're paid. If you know someone that can look at this, and make it make sense to me, or say, yeah, there's a problem with this, we're going to look into it, please share this video to them, send me their contact details, send them our contact details, anything, because this is driving me absolutely insane, and we cannot be the only people that this is affecting. In fact, I know it's not the only people that this is affecting, because after we made the last video, we got messages on that video and messages into Instagram saying that exactly the same thing was happening to them. I then followed up to say, following our previous conversation, that none of these defects can get removed. Some have been removed. Do you want to explain why that is? I sent a screenshot. So a lot of these were ones that you saw earlier with all the orange marks on them. Now, it doesn't mean the problem's gone away, because as I've shown you earlier, our defect rate is currently 2.6%, so it's so close to 3%. Whatever's happening, it's not happening quick enough, and I don't believe it's anywhere near any sort of resolution. And again, I just got the same old stuff about, you know, well, it must have been relating to Christmas or weather disaster or a bank holiday. And I just said, you know, it's none of those. There's no bank holiday. It's not been Christmas. What are you talking about? And she went on to say, you know, she can't see why they were removed. Why not? Why can't you see why they were removed? Or why can't you get off your backside and find out why they were removed? So I wanted to press the point, and I said that you've told me that you can't manually appeal a defect unless there's a visible acceptance scan on the tracking that shows dispatch within the handling time. So I said, what's the policy now for auto removal? Because obviously I've got a bunch that have been auto removed, and the question I have is how, because they weren't showing as dispatched on time, even though I had the receipts. The online stuff was not showing it. And again, they said they don't know, and they mentioned the weather and Christmas and bank holidays. It just is insane. I got screenshots again, got asked to complete their survey again, and when you get the survey, that means they've shut the case. They're not shutting the case on me like that. I said it doesn't clarify anything. None of them are GSP. None of them are simple delivery. None of them are to do with natural disasters. I just went on, asked them if I could speak to someone else. Can't speak to anyone else. I then thought I'd throw another item number in, and same old, same old. Handle by date was the 27th, and the first scan of the tracking was the 29th, and they sent me that. And the best thing about this one is because it was only marked late, because it was a keepsafe. The customer has a Royal Mail keepsafe thing, so it was delivered to their keepsafe thing, whatever that is, and then it was subsequently delivered to the customer when they called it in on the 10th of September. And I said, perhaps I'm not understanding. This shows it was accepted on the 3rd, accepted at parcel shop. But look, the receipt says the 2nd. But again, it goes off the item received scan, which is reading as the 4th. Apparently. So it only made it to the national hub on the 4th, and I said, well, that's crazy. I can't deliver to the national hub in the Midlands on the same day. And I sent another item number and said, how am I supposed to take this to the Midlands super hub? Can this please be properly investigated, or could sellers please have some sort of information to explain how we can use Royal Mail going forward? And then she offered some really handy clarification that items are marked, I guess, as accepted if they mention those following words in the online tracking. Whilst doing this, I'd noticed some really weird timestamps. So for example, this one showed that I bought the label, therefore provided the tracking because I buy them through eBay, at 7:48 AM. I am never awake at that time, and I do my labels at 4 PM. It showed that the item was received at 6:05 AM. So we know that that's not a post office that's taken it in at 6:05 AM, which means something must have happened between the 17th and the 18th, i.e. it was delivered to a post office by me between those times. And they can't be saying surely that I delivered it, at 6:04 AM to a post office. And I just got the usual stuff again. Just trying to explain how it works, and I'm just trying to explain how it's not working. I got the appeal screenshot again. How does any of this make sense? Do you not agree that the system is therefore not fit for purpose? If eBay relies on information provided by Royal Mail and Royal Mail aren't providing the information, then surely that system is not good enough. Please make it make sense. As for previous defects that have been removed, these are still unexplained. As I stated, for many of them there was no bank holiday, no adverse incidents. Please help. And they said they had reported the timestamp issue. Then I brought up Top Rated Seller Plus. Perhaps eBay doesn't want sellers to do that anymore because there's absolutely no incentive to try and get out fast parcels. Now I know what you might be thinking, and I should have mentioned this earlier on. Why don't you just do 3-day dispatch and 5-day delivery? And I could, but we're trying to please the premium service, so that's why we don't do that. I know I can do that. Fine, and I probably, if this never got resolved, obviously I'd have to do it. And again, she said I need to query it with Royal Mail. And again, I said they do scan them in. I've got the receipts. I've shown you the receipts. You're just not listening. And then she said she basically wouldn't respond to any more of my messages. I wasn't having that. I asked her to answer my question again, that this isn't the first time that she's heard about this Royal Mail issue. So I want to know which service you haven't heard about. I basically asked her, what... If you're asking me to change couriers, who should I use? Does this happen with Every? Does it happen with DPD? Like, help me out here. Tell me whose system correctly shows the right information. I then pushed her again because I didn't get a reply. We don't offer the courier service. The best option would be to query this directly with the courier companies you'd be interested in using. And that's as far as I got with eBay for Business. That's quite a long period of time, those messages, but kind of in two chunks. So there was kind of before the evaluation day and after the evaluation day on the 20th of September. I phoned Royal Mail this morning. I got through to the click and drop people, I think, and he was like, oh, well, I shouldn't really be taking this sort of call, but he said, oh, you should be using a different service. I was like, oh, I'm using the wrong service. What do you mean? Am I supposed to be using, is it called something different? And I jumped onto eBay, went to essentially ship an order to see what options it was giving me. And I read them all out to him, and he said, yeah, that's the one. RM24, RM48, that's our best service. It's got 5 points of tracking, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but that's not working. I've been through this for so long with eBay, and they're basically telling me to go and use a different courier. And I said, that surely is not what you want to hear from eBay, and surely eBay wouldn't want to hear their staff saying that either. Like, fix the problem. Don't just try and push it aside and just work around the problem. I don't need to know. I don't need to be told to use another courier. Fix the problem with Royal Mail. Royal Mail, whether they deliver 2.7 million parcels a day or whatever it is, like, come on, why is this not working? It's ridiculous. You know, whatever is going on, there is complete disregard for sellers in terms of from customer support. You know, I spent all day with eBay in Birmingham last week with Faye, listening to how wonderful the sellers are and how they want to hear their feedback and all that stuff. Honestly, it's just lip service. Why is it that sellers have to waste so much time? I have wasted so much time talking to these people via chat. I also went, by the way, on live chat and got exactly the same result about appealing defects, not being able to appeal them. I said, I've got a receipt. They said, okay, great, send it to me. Nothing's happened and the appeal has been rejected. I don't understand why it is that they tell us that they care when you try to raise an issue for the good of them and us, and they just want to I don't know, they want to go and have their lunch. They're not getting, they're not getting paid to send so many messages. Like, they're playing Candy Crush. I don't know what it is, why it is that they're not interested in just flagging it up and saying, do you know what? That is not right. Something is wrong. We're going to help you. We're going to look into it. We're going to fix it. But instead it's like, oh no, no one else seems to be having this problem. They are having this problem. They are having this problem. If I've made any sense of this video, which I hope I have, please let me know what you think, and if there's anyone you can share it to, please do, because there's a massive problem. We're getting defects, everyone else is going to be getting defects. eBay for Business are now telling us not to use Royal Mail and to use other courier services, and to find out, when I ask which ones, that's great and everything, but which ones, are there any others with this problem? Oh, I can't tell you. Oh, so I've just got to find out the hard way, have I? It's just, the whole thing is just completely ridiculous, and this is, I realise this video has turned into a complete rant, so I'm going to stop now. Let's check out some sales from the barn. What we got?
Crate 26.
Oh, here we are.
Vintage Pool Twin Tone Gravy Boat and Stand Mushroom Brown.
Gotta be that.
Yeah, that is it. That cost 66p, and that sold within 6 months for £9 plus post. That was in a lot from auction. Then we've got Clock Tub.
Yeah.
A bag of foreign currency. I had a load of coins on my desk from a previous lot, and then I had a new lot of them, and I thought I could sort them into countries and investigate, but I thought, you know what, it's just not my bag. So I weighed them. They're 345 grams, and there's coins there from Hong Kong, France, Germany, Cyprus. I put those on auction for £4.99, I think it was start price, plus post, 7 days, and they sold for £10, so £13.99 in total, cost price 70p, and I've had those, some on my desk for about a month, others just a couple of days. Then we've got crate 1. There's a lawnmower in the way.
Yep.
Vintage Johnson Brothers Summer Chintz Oval Platter and Oval Flan Dish. There we go. These cost a total of £4, and they sold within 3 months for £14.40. They were a bad buy.
Yeah. Yeah. Paid too much, sold for too little. So
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Crate 22.
Yeah.
I think they were in a set we got in a charity shop, actually.
Yes, they are. And we got that whole set. That had the teapot, I think.
Yeah.
And the teapot did okay, I think.
Yeah, it
we
did.
sold it.
Yeah, it did really well. Sold really quickly. Okay, we have a vintage metal handbell, lady in a traditional dress.
Oh, it's the thing making a noise.
This cost 53p, and that sold within 5 months. That was from auction, and it sold for £5 and 8p plus post. And the same person also bought I think this is in random. You actually you got it out yesterday. It's an oval metal plate thing, serving tray.
That one?
Yeah, that's it. WMF Ikora tray, that is. That cost 93p from auction, and that's taken 11 months to sell. They also bought this, which I hadn't even put away yet. It's a vintage teapot, coffee pot. It's got holes in the lid, which is really random. And possibly French. It's hard to know, but that cost 70p. So for the...
So they've bought these 3 things?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So they have paid £25 plus post for that lot, for a cost price of less than £3. She did message and say, how do you do combined postage for multiple orders?
Oh, okay. Oh, that was her, was it?
Yeah, so what she's done is she's ordered 1 thing and paid for postage, and she's ordered 2 things on the same order and paid postage for 1. Like
right,
one.
So 1 was free post, was it? Okay, cool. So yeah, I just said I'd calculate it.
Picked it already, but we have this Photo Mosaics Elvis Presley 1000-piece jigsaw puzzle. We have had this for so long, and I can't believe it hasn't sold, because it's brand new and sealed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Paid £5 for it 10 months ago. It was listed on the other site and eBay, but sold on eBay for a measly price of £6.69 plus post.
Yeah, it was originally bought for Amazon, but couldn't go into Amazon. It's not in our catalogue, I think. But yeah, that's insane. But there we go, it's gone now.
I'm a puzzler. I love puzzles, and they are flipping hard. I haven't given up on many puzzles, but there was that Titanic one of that. Do you remember?
Yeah.
In our old house, so we both tried to do it, and it was just impossible.
Yeah, mosaic.
And that's black and white. Okay, and then we've got this vintage King chromeware Golden Flow automatic jigger, new old stock, so it's still in its box, cost 28p, and that sold for £10.33 within 2.5 months. On the table we have vintage styled by Mikasa dessert bowls, 6 of them. They cost £1.15. They have been listed for 5 months, and they are from auction and sold for £11.81. Then also on the table we have a vintage Spears Games, The Merry Game of Floundering and Super Puzzle.
Ooh.
These are vintage games. I bundled them together. They cost 70p for the 2, and they sold for £19.99 within a week. Also on the table we have a John Lewis tea set, red glass plastic teapot and 2 mugs. It's boxed, and there we go. That cost 28p. Sold within 2 months for £14.63.
I need to give that a bit of a wipe. They kept lowballing us on this, and I ended up declining their last offer, and they bought it at full price.
Home.
Yeah.
Vintage Tala biscuit pastry cutters in a silver tin. There's 13 little small cutters in there. It's a round tin.
The brown tin.
Round.
Or round.
Simon's not very well. No. It's a tin. That was wood. Yeah. 28p, and that's sold for £10.50 within 2 months.
Cool.
Crate 11.
Yeah.
Vintage Pyrex Market Garden Tuscany Triangle Space Saver dishes, 2 of them. That's those. They cost, let's see the pattern. There we go. They cost a total of 70p from auction. Sold within a month for £20 and 9p.
Had a lot of interest on those.
Crate 6.
Yeah.
Vintage opaque glass lampshades, 2 of them, pink with scalloped edge. They cost £2.22 from a local house clearance guy, and they sold for £15 and 7p within 2 months. Then we got on the table an espresso nomad travel mug, large, 540ml. That's it. Got that from a charity shop last week for £3. Sold for £27.99, and that's going GSP to America.
So they had another one, you didn't buy it?
Yeah, always look out for Nespresso stuff. Home. Brass curtain hooks, 1 pack, gold colour. There's 100 in there. We think we might have sold out, but I don't think so. There we go. Cost 49p from auction. Sold within 8 months for £3.34 plus post. Crate 27.
Yeah.
Espresso cup and saucer times 3. They're very dark brown, almost like dark grey black colour. Espresso cups, so they're small. They cost £2 and 2p from auction. They sold within 6 months for £11.13. Crate 28.
Yeah.
Vintage Wedgwood Campion dinner plate ×2.
It's been popular, this pattern, isn't it?
Yeah. That cost 70p from auction, sold for £20 and 9p within a month. Crate 11.
Yeah.
Vintage onyx marble bowl, mid-century, yellow. There we go. That was free. That was given to me by another reseller, and that sold for £13 and 39p within a month.
The guy sent a message asking the diameter of the base, and before we could reply, he'd already, with an offer, wasn't it? And before we could already reply, he just then went and bought it. So good luck, everybody. Yeah.
Crate 2. Crate 2.
Thanks.
Hotel Chocolat hot chocolate cups, 2 of them white. Andrew Wicks velvetizer cups. They're white, they haven't got handles.
Oh. What did you say? Crate 10?
2.
Oh.
Could have been here a while, couldn't we? They cost 70p from auction, sold within a month for £19.99 plus post, and they've asked us to not include any invoice or receipt paperwork, and perhaps just a scribble saying happy birthday dad, thank you, which we're happy to do.
Get off your backside and find out